Hello and welcome. This is Family Call, your family program that talks about everything around the family. Don't forget, we'll be talking about COVID-19. Now, today we're going to be talking about COVID-19 and its impact on the economy. I have in the house Professor AbdulKareem, and after this time out, we are going to be talking about how it affects the economy. Stay tuned. Welcome back. I have in the house Professor AbdulKareem of the College of Medicine, University of Lagos. Prof, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, today we're going to be discussing COVID-19 and its impact on the economy. Generally, what do you think the impact has been like?
And the question the viewers will ask is Professor AbdulKareem a professor of economics? Of course, no, she is not. But when you talk about economy, it affects every one of us. I'm a woman in the house that planned the economy of my house. As an administrator, okay, in my place of work, in the laboratory, we need to plan how to get our reagents, okay? I help in managing a community school, so everyone, when we talk about economy, you really don't have to be a professor of economics to be able to talk about the impact we have all experienced during this period. So just to tell you that I'm qualified, even though I'm not a professor of economics, to talk about it. So it's really been a lot. And when they talk about economy, it's about productivity, the total, the workforce. So during the lockdown, many of us were not going to work except essential workers. Some people were down, were sick. Many businesses were closed. So everything, you can see that productivity reduced, and then it goes to like a vicious cycle that affects everyone. Government spending also reduced, and government is the largest spender. And everything eventually affected each home, each little business, even the bigger businesses were all affected. Talking about home, because we could not go to the market during that. In fact, there was even panic buying because we did not know how long the lockdown was going to be. People used up the fluid cash and bought what they were not going to be able to preserve because electricity 24/7 is not ensured. The people who live on daily sales were not able to do that. So that within 1 week, a lot of families could not cope again. They had to find ways to get out and look for means of survival. And then what happened later on in Agege? The area boys stepped out because they could not take it again. Transportation affected. So, and then when you look at the schools, private schools were most hit. Private primary, secondary school. The number of teachers in in that sector, it was during that period that we had to organize something. There's a group that I belonged to. We had to organize something for teachers in private school because they were not collecting salary. And even in hospitals that I work, reagents are imported. Many of our reagents are imported.
So you're not able to get reagents?
So to get reagents with difficulty. And even if you got them, they were more expensive because transportation was almost zero. At the time that, there was no flights again. And before you could even bring in anything, it was going to be more than double the cost of what it was before COVID. So when you put all that together, you see that it was, really, really massive. I'm sure by the time governments will be able to put everything, because it's the overall total productivity and sales that accrue into calculating GDP. So it's by the time government gives us the figures, we'll see that it's going to be a lot. That even we, as individual families, as owners of small businesses, we know that definitely. And in the small and medium scale enterprises, majority of them is like living from hand to mouth. Many of their workers had to be told to go on leave of absence. Some were actually told to go completely because there was no how they could afford to continue to pay them. So this one, that of course will snowball into, will affect the entire family and then affect the children. Now, when you talk about even within the home, most parents dread period of holiday ordinarily because now the children will be home to take all the meals
with
an extra. Because when they were going to school, you could plan. They will go, you give them something to take along after breakfast and then come back, prepare a meal for the dinner. But now they're going to take extra. And a lot of them will say, Mommy, this is not enough because they are home. So it's really a lot of impact. So a lot of people were relieved by the time the lockdown were relaxed. And even now, it's still not relaxed because many people are still not, government workers, many of them are still not going to work. And you know what that means on utilities in the home that they're going to be consuming. So it's really a lot of impact.
Okay, now, what should the government have done? What could the government have done differently? I'm talking in two perspectives now. Before it happened, because I believe that maybe if the government had been doing some things before, what should the government have done differently? Two ways. One, I believe if the government had been doing something before the problem may have not been that bad. And then when the problem came up, things can still be handled and government could have done some intervention. I know some governments did some things, but what could our own government have done differently?
Before the lockdown, there should have been provision of the COVID palliative. The palliative was not ready at the time we went on lockdown. And that's why a lot of people could not cope. Secondly, it was not so planned that many of the palliatives got to wrong hands. It didn't get to the people that actually needed them. And then thirdly, say, okay, the number of people in each local government, the number of households. We don't have that data to be able to identify those that are really in need. I thought that, okay, this COVID really, in fact, in every sector, COVID has given us that opportunity to have been able to identify the gap that we have in economy, in health, in education. And government need to use this information, that there is a lot of gap. In this case, we are talking of data, to know those people that really need it. And then, by the time they were now distributing, they would tell some household that they were coming so they would wait, and then by the time it came, maybe one. But that's not what the government planned. That people that sabotage government efforts were each other's enemy. A lot of time government has good plans, but then we sabotage. Because government cannot come down, Governor Shawolu will not be the one to come and distribute. Look at what he was doing and his team that time. They were having sleepless nights, doing all the plans, yet there were some people planning to sabotage and divert those. So I think this period we should use to identify the gaps and then plan to have data, so that if we have it, if we have anything again. So when we started this, what could government have done differently? Yes, government should have provided the COVID palliative before going on. Then government should have also closed the borders early enough. We didn't close the border early enough. I don't know. Governments probably had its reasons, because at that early period, the number of people that were coming in then, and then it now became overwhelming, that it was not possible to be able to really identify, and the test at that time was not being done everywhere. And people were coming in from all over the country. I mean, from all the parts of the international airports, not only Lagos, and tests were only being done in Lagos and Abuja. So the number of people that came in, there was no how we could capture all of them and, get them all tested and be able to curtail it at that time.
Economy, I still feel that education has a lot to play, and that is why I would ask this question. Is there something we can do about our education to help our graduates to think more about problem solving so that our economy can be impacted? Because SMEs, a lot of SMEs packed up, or they couldn't do anything during that period. They didn't look forward to the future. What are we doing in the educational sector?
Yes, that's why now everything is about technology. Our education has to be technology driven, such that, the graduates that we bring out will be those that will be able to do something on their own, will not be looking for white-collar job. And, now a lot of students, even while in school, are able to secure some internship where they are able to work before they eventually graduate. And so they have that as experience, because somebody graduates today and then is looking for a job, all the employees around are looking for somebody who is below 25 and has so number of years of experience. How is that going to happen? If we don't have embedded within the educational sector where students can actually have exposure during the university days, even during secondary school days. Now, we should encourage our students during holiday to go for some form of internship.
So we'll be going on break now. Don't forget, this is still Family Call, and we're discussing COVID-19 and its impact on the economy. We still have Professor AbdulKareem in the house, and then when we come back, we'll take it from where we stopped. Stay tuned.
Is literally expensive. I don't know if it's because of COVID, and then there's no money anywhere. Money doesn't circulate as much as it was circulating in 2019.
We are praying to God to help us in this Nigeria we are now, because things is too hard, too harder, not easy.
The COVID-19 affect all the citizens in Nigeria, even the world in general. But I don't know what our people are trying to do to improve the economy.
Welcome back. This is still Family Call, and we're talking about COVID-19 and its impact on the economy. And the house, we still have Professor AbdulKareem. Professor AbdulKareem, thank you for staying around. Now, we mentioned SMEs, and you also talked about the fact that some teachers, because most schools are SMEs, we talk about some teachers that you had to contribute for, to give money to. People don't have their jobs again, or they are on leave of absence, or whatever they call it. What would you say to this?
The SMEs are the most hit. Those who live on daily sales. The market woman there that will need to go to mile 12 to get a basket of pepper and come to the open market to sell. And it is, in fact, a lot of times, you know, they take that on credit. They take on credit, and whatever they sell, the profit belongs, and then the rest takes it back to go and get more. And that's why a lot of these small daily, you go to Mushi market, that's where a lot of them do. And out of it, they will do daily adjust, daily contribution. That's what is for their savings. All those were not happening during lockdown. So you can imagine. And I can bet you there are so many homes that depend on that, on women like that. There are so many homes. Because it is only women that are able to do odd jobs. Most men are not able to do odd jobs. So once there is no job, he stays back. And the woman will be the one. She cannot see her children crying of hunger. She will have to go and find something to do. She cannot go and do alabaru in the market. The man cannot do. When you go to the market, see people who are the alabarus. It's women who are the ones doing menial jobs. They're the one. You go to my 12, you see people helping you to wash your shoes and rent shoes. Those small business. So during lockdown, markets were closed. What were those people eating? Imagine what happened to their children as well. You know, and then other small businesses too that are not really like daily, but they exhausted the capital base of their business during that period because nothing was coming in. So it's like starting all over again. So where do they get the capital from?
Okay, as the founder of Fajim Medicare Foundation, you've been working on a lot of community projects to improve the lives of the people. What has your foundation done to contribute to the effect, to alleviating the effect of the COVID-19
You know, Fajim actually focuses on the earth, you know, what we can do. And you know, like we've said now that economy really is the overall total productivity. And so we believe that a healthy workforce, you know, will be more productive and contribute to the economy. So that's where our contribution comes. And we know that women, like we've been discussing, they just have to find a way of getting to that market, because that's where, without being there, they cannot provide for their family. So we go to the market. We say, okay, so since you cannot stay back home, so we go there, educate them, you know, do jingles, and then give them sanitizer and give them face mask, so that at least if you are there doing your business, please protect yourself. You know, so we've been doing that because we believe that if they do that and they don't have COVID, then they will be able to continue to run their businesses.
And that goes a long way in contributing to the economy.
Yes.
Thank you for doing that. On a final note, what would you say to the Nigerian populace about being in charge of the economy, not just looking at the government as the only one that should be in charge of the economy?
Yes. Now, COVID-19 has introduced a new normal to every aspect of our life. So, and that new normal is, you know, virtual businesses. So every business should find alternative to physical, interaction between the buyer and the seller. So even the market woman can ask her child to do WhatsApp and tell friends who need, because a lot of people were actually not going to the market and they were getting their supplies at home. So it's only people, sellers, who are able to take that opportunity that were able to sell their wares. Before government comes, we can rally around ourselves, starting from family, from neighborhood. We know who is able and who is not, that we can contribute to assisting one another during this period. And while government should give us that enabling environment to allow businesses to thrive, because if there's regular electricity, there's water supply, and everything that people need, and transportation too, all these will help businesses grow, and eventually everyone, the impact will be minimized for a lot of us.
This has been your program, Family Call, and we've been talking about the impacts of COVID-19 on the economy with Professor AbdulKareem, who is a lecturer at the College of Medicine, University of Lagos. She's also the founder of Faji Medicare Foundation. Thank you for all you've been doing. Don't forget, we have other segments. We have the mental health segment, and then we hope that you stay tuned.
The impact of COVID-19 on the family cannot be overemphasized, in the sense that this pandemic called COVID-19 has scattered a lot of families and has brought a lot of distress into the family, which there is a sequelae of mental health issues in these families. For example, a family that loses the breadwinner in the house, the attendant effects on the spouse and the children is so overwhelming. I have the privilege of knowing a family who lost a breadwinner in the house. Up to now, that was some months ago, up to now, the children are yet to recover from it. The anxiety in the family is so overwhelming. If anybody knocks the gate, they'll be thinking that their father has arrived, especially the young ones, the younger children who are yet to familiar themselves with what it means to have a permanent separation as a result of a pandemic like this. So some of them, the kind of anxiety resulted into it. And one of the worst things to have happened to a family is for the young ones, maybe pre-adolescent ones, to develop depression. Some of them have started having depressive symptoms to the extent that we needed to attend to them, psychoeducate them, and the psychoeducation couldn't do much. We went to the extent of giving them drugs to take care of the depressive symptoms they have, loss of interest in pleasurable activities, sadness, incessant sadness, weakness, undue weakness, and the likes, hopelessness, helplessness. Some of the children even had suicidal ideation, thinking that that was the end of their life because of the kind of rapport and relationship they had with their father. So in this sense, the effects of COVID-19 as a pandemic on the family life is so overwhelming. And the economic life of such a family was so adversely affected to the extent that they needed to be looking forward to people for handout to take care of their immediate needs. And when we are talking about Maslow's hierarchy of need, the hierarchy of need in the sense that they need food, the kind of such family that used to eat a 3-square meal, they were finding it difficult to just take care of 1 or 2 meals in a day. it was a major issue that people had to be rallying around. They had to raise money in religious centers just to make sure that these families are catered for. So in this sense, the all hands needs to be on deck to take care or to try as much as possible to prevent the spread of this virus in our midst, because nobody can know the extent to which it will go, but because it may lead to the eventuality of death, because the utmost side effect of life is death. So I want us to be on a lookout to do the right thing at the right time as far as this virus is concerned. Thank you.
Welcome back. This has been your program, Family Call, and we'll be discussing COVID-19 and its impact on the economy. Don't forget, we've been discussing some other things we discussed the last time with Prof. AbdulKareem. She was in the studio, and we discussed COVID-19 and its impact on education. Today, we concluded COVID-19 and its impact on economy. Don't forget to keep safe, wear a face mask, and then stay blessed.